to do this and she's not. All right, Emma, I think we'll get cracking. Just so everyone knows, I've just hit the record button because we've received a few emails today from people asking if we could record today's meeting so they could catch up on it a little bit later on. So, Emma, I'll hand it over to you.
No worries. Thank you, Daniel. If you could put the first slide up. So welcome everybody to our Red Devils coaching information presentation. I've just put a PowerPoint together. Daniel's going to be controlling it, and hopefully everybody can find this very informative. So yeah, we're going to begin. Next slide, please, Daniel. If I didn't say welcome, welcome. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we meet today. I would also like to pay my respects to the elders past and present and emerging. Now, a lot of the things that you're going to see tonight, I have actually written on the PowerPoint presentation. This is just simply for if we send this out, well, I'm sure we will send this out to other coaches that have not been able to attend tonight as well. So I'm not going to be reading everything off the screen. I'm going to kind of just ad-lib as we go. But if you do have any questions, please try to hold off until the end. We do have a question time. So it's a good idea just to grab a little notepad and pen just to write down any questions or ideas or comments that you would like to make throughout the presentation. Just hold off until the end if that's all right, please. I'll try to get through it as quick as possible. All right, so I'm just going to introduce our executive committee. Obviously, my name is Emma Jones, and I'm the president of our wonderful basketball club. Daniel Batty is helping me out tonight, and he's our vice president, which I'm sure you heard his voice before. We've got our secretary, which is Kelly Wilson. Unfortunately, she's absent tonight. She sent her apologies. Our finance officer is Lee Jones, which is treasurer, and we also have Sky Hewitt, and she's our registrar and child safety officer. We also have a coaching coordinator committee, and our coaching coordinators are Steph and Seb. I'm not going to try to pronounce their surname. I'm sure they'll be okay with me not trying. And our girls coordinator is Sally, and our boys coordinator is Yvonne. And we do have Yvonne on tonight, and Sally will be hopping on a little bit later as well. All right, straight into coaching. Okay, so at the start of the season, everyone hopefully by now has received a coaching bag. It should have the correct ball sizes for the age that you are coaching, some cones, whistles. And if you have an old bag, it'll probably have a not so great pump, but they are handy a little bit. If you do stay on each season, you just hold on to that bag. But if it is a choice of yours that you've decided to give coaching a bit of a break, then we set up a night where Seb and Steph can have you come and drop off the bags, and then we can pass them on to the next coach that has decided to take on that role. We also have some first aid kits that Kim has put together for us, which is sitting next to Daniel. And Kim is sitting next to Daniel, not the first aid kits. And they have been distributed already to most of, I believe, all, Kim, thumbs up for all of our our team managers, I believe.
Maybe one not.
Okay, but that's pretty good. Well done. Thank you so much for sending all of those out. If you do need anything to be replenished, you just need to contact Kim. Okay, now this is something that you might get asked as a coach, not necessarily you will need to do yourself. But if you need to order a uniform, then you just need to contact the print shop. At the moment, the print shop is still the way that we are going. We are looking at trying to find another place, which we hope we have, which is where we got all our merchandise from. That is not available just yet, but we are hoping to have that up and running very soon, and we will let all of our coaches and our members know. But at the moment, just need to contact the print shop. The most important thing that you need to do, though, is please, if anyone is ordering a uniform, can you please check with Sky first? Because we have a list of numbers for each of the age groups. It's real. Parents just don't pluck a number out because it's their son or daughter or somebody's birth date, and they're like, I really want number 24. It might already be attached to another player. So please make sure that if any parents do ask, where do I order a uniform? Please direct them to Sky straight away. If you are playing another Red Devils team, we've had a couple of clashes last season, and I believe we've had a couple this season as well. Again, you just need to contact Sky, and she actually has spare uniforms. Sorry, not spare uniforms. She has the clash tops, and they are white. And we have I think we have 3 or 4 sets of different sizes that we can accommodate for everybody. So again, if you are going to be playing against another Red Devils team, we will either contact you. Daniel's holding one up now. Thank you, Daniel. We will either contact you, Kelly, myself, or if you want to get in early as a coach, you can contact us as well. We do have quite a little collection of spare uniforms. So if you have a player that's going to fill in for your team, which I'll talk about a little bit later in the slideshow, please just contact, again, Sky, and she will be able to help you out. She holds all of our spare uniforms, and Daniel will assist with that as well. But all of that will be disclosed to you, the address and things like that, where you can pick up that uniform. Okay, so fill in players. This can be really tricky for some teams because they either get those lovely phone calls on a Saturday morning saying that they need a fill-in player, or a player becomes injured and you just go, how do I get a fill-in player? You just need to contact Sky, and Sky will be able to help you out. What we tend to do is we will obviously ring a couple of teams. If you are in, for instance, the 12-4 team, then we will contact teams that are below your grade and see if any of them can fill in if their game time doesn't clash. If their game time does, then we normally go to the under 10 teams and that are in the same grade as you or below, and then we will borrow a player out of those teams. So again, you just need to contact Sky. If you have a friend that would like to fill in, someone from school or someone in your child's soccer team that wants to give basketball a go, that friend can actually play for your team for 2 games, and they are an unregistered player, but they must register with Red Devils after those 2 games. So they can play 2 games, and then after that, they have to register with us. If you need to forfeit your game, which is quite rare these days, if you need to forfeit, because Sky and Daniel used to do the position as well, they will search high and low for those players for you first before it comes to a forfeit. But if you do need to forfeit, please just contact us as early as you possibly can, and then we will contact Knox on your behalf. If we have searched every single avenue and we cannot fill a team for you, then we will contact Knox. There is nothing that you need to do to contact Knox. Excuse me. That is all of us. So please just let myself know, or you can also let Kelly know, and we will we'll do all the rest for you. The concussion rule. Kelly's actually just sent an email out to all of the coaches about the basically what you need to know is it is something new that's come in this season. It has been spoken about a little bit at our president and secretary meetings that Kelly and I attend. If you suspect one of your players does have a concussion after a head knock, it's really important to make sure that you have downloaded the Head Check app, either yourself or your team manager, and you can go through exactly what you need to be asking that player if they have had that knock to their head. If you feel as the coach that they are not looking too great, At the end of the day, it is your call to keep that player off the, even if Daniel is the parent and he comes up to me as the coach and says, no, I want my daughter out there playing. She's perfectly fine. It is my decision as the coach to say, yes, I will put her on the court, or no, I will not put her on the court. So it's really important to know that it ends with you as the coaches. Now, if you don't feel comfortable with that decision and the player is not the team manager's child, then you can concur with the team manager as well. But it really stops with you as the coach to make that final decision. What Kelly sent out tonight was the last kind of couple of lines on here, just saying, just so you're aware, if a player is suspected of having a concussion, they go to the doctors. If the doctors say, nope, they're perfectly fine, they can play. If the doctor says that there is a possibility, or yes, they have concussion, the player must take a minimum of 7 days from activity. So that is basketball, football, whatever they're playing, they need to have those 7 days. And the doctor will actually advise if it needs to be longer as well. But for us, we're saying a minimum is 7 days. It's also a requirement for you to send that concussion, that child's information to us, so we can keep a record of that as well. Daniel, is there anything that I've missed out on that, just because I know you're up with all of the concussion rules?
No, spot on.
Wonderful.
All good.
Thank you.
Cover it all off.
Thanks for that. So injuries and illnesses. Now, sometimes coaches don't realize, but if your player does injure themselves, you can actually go, sorry, let me start again. If a player injures themselves at the game, then at every single stadium, there is a QR code that you can go up to with the parent of the player that's injured. So if Yvonne's child has injured themselves during the game, Yvonne just goes up to the front counter and says, my child has been injured. Can I have the QR code? And you can click on that and all of the details you can enter in, and then they are covered through the insurance through Knox. Now, if you don't do that, then you can email us and let us know, and we can contact Knox on your behalf. But it's so much easier and better with the QR codes. QR codes is changing your world really these days. They're everywhere. So if your child does hurt themselves, please use those QR codes. And if it's not your child, just one of your players, please instruct the parents to do that. If your player does hurt themselves and they're going to be out for a couple of weeks, for instance, I know a basketball team at the moment, Chris's basketball team, he has a player out or has had a player out for several weeks. This player had injury. So they went to the hospital, got all of the information, the certificate from the doctors. We sent it through to Knox within 21 days of the injury, and that player, up until when they come back, are covered. So if Chris's team makes finals, this player is covered for the time that they have not played. So if they haven't played for 6 weeks because of the broken arm, that's accrued time for when you go to finals. So if you have your 10 games that you need to play, which is basically half or a little bit more of the season, then 6 of those games are already covered. So it's really important that you need to send that information to us within 21 days of the injury or illness. Okay, so unregistered child wanting to train or come along to try before they register. So a try before you buy type situation. So again, if you have a friend of your child that wants to come along and give basketball a go, we really encourage that. We absolutely love that people want to come along and give it a go. We do run our Little Devils program, but if they would like to, if they're a little bit older, saying under 12s or under 14s, then they are welcome to come along. It's up to your discretion as the coach to say yes, they can come along and when you would like them to, but they just need to fill out a player waiver form. And on the next slide that Daniel will just pop on for me, these waiver forms are available through Lee. So there's a lot of information there. I'm not expecting you to read it right now. I just wanted to show you what it actually looks like. But this form, basically at the bottom of it, which I couldn't fit on the slide, it just has a part where you can put the date and signature from the parent. So again, if a friend does want to come along and give training a go, they just need to sign a training waiver before they actually start training, and that just covers them if there is any injury during trainings. Okay, so team manager's role. Just wanted to clarify for coaches that are unsure of the team manager's role. It has changed a lot over the years. So they need to prepare a scoring roster and assist parents who are new to scoring. So, for instance, I'm the team manager of my son's team, and there was a parent that had no idea how to score on Saturday. So I just sat with her and just helped her. She was on the buttons and she was a little bit nervous about putting the score on the wrong color. So I just kept yelling out to her, light, 2 points, dark, 2 points, dark, foul, and just things like that, just to help her out. So I kept it really, really easy and breezy. But she felt more confident after the game. So please make sure that your team manager is assisting. It's not up to you as the coach. You've got enough stuff going on. So please just get your team manager over. And if your team manager's unsure, just let us know. Email us as the committee and we'll get somebody down there to help you. They need to distribute communications from the club. They need to ensure that the first aid kits are brought to all of the games. The information on the computer system on the game day is correct. Now, sometimes you might have a player's number. They've switched jerseys. They've got a different number, things like that. So they just need to make sure everything is correct. And then obviously communicate the fixture and details to parents that's on Play HQ. I'm not sure about all of the coaches on here, but I know that the teams that I've been with the last couple of seasons, we've just started a WhatsApp, and that seems really easy just to communicate back and forth what's going on. And then you can just pop different details on there as well. I've just popped on the bottom there the Play HQ website. Daniel, you don't need to click on that at all. I just wanted everyone to see how it's quite lengthy if you wanted to write it down. Please don't feel like you need to. But that's just how you can easily find our basketball club. And if you wanted to see any other teams where they're playing. Okay. Getting into playing our wonderful basketball. So fill-in coaches, if you can't coach, that's perfectly fine. You just need to check first with your team manager to see if they can fill in for you. If they can't, then you're welcome to select any parent that you think is capable of doing your role, but they must have a working with children's check. So please let us know if you do have a coach that's filling in, and they can just send through their working with children's check to Kelly. If you cannot find a coach to fill in at all, please contact our coaching coordinators, Steph and Seb, and they will either fill in for you or they will check with a committee member to see if one of us can come down to the game. Okay, so this can be a little bit tricky for some new time coaches. How do you get all of your players on in equal time? It can be really tricky. And trust me, I have had the guilt after a game where I've thought, oh my goodness, I kept that number 5 off for so long. I should have just put them on in that last 3 minutes, but I couldn't get a sub. It happens. Please try not to get the coaching guilt when you get home or you're driving in the car. It's a good idea to either, you've kind of got two options. I do the old school where I write down my players and I'll rotate through my players. And once I've rotated, I put beside them so I know that they've kind of gone on, and then I might do a cross or something, but I use the old school system. These days they do have lots of different apps, and I've just suggested on here that you can do an app called Sub Time or Coach Any, and those ones you can actually enter in all of the players' names. You can put in how much time the game goes for, because these apps can change from soccer to football to all different sports. And then it'll actually tell you and buzz when you need to sub. I'm gonna have a drink of water, guys. Sorry. Okay. So during a game, if a player becomes upset or injured, you are as the coach are the only ones that can actually go onto the court, but it has to be with the ref's permission. You can't just go onto the court. Regardless if that child is screaming on the court, the ref will look at you straight away anyway, but you just need to get that okay and go on the court with their permission. They are more lenient, obviously, for under 8 players because you can move around on the court. You're allowed to be out there, but you just need to make sure that the parents don't run onto the court. You, as the coach, are the ones that should be going out there. If you need to talk to a referee, you cannot just walk onto the court when you would like to. You must call a timeout and then ask the ref or the referees if you need to speak to both of them. Normally, both of them will walk over, but you just need to call a timeout and ask them to come over to talk about whatever you need to, whether it's a discrepancy that you're unhappy with, whether it's something to do with the scoring, something like that. But you need to be able to actually call the refs over. You cannot walk on that court at all. And whilst you are having that chat with the ref, it's really important to ask your team manager to step up and talk to your team, or at least to get them to drink some water and sit down. You don't need to have them witness what you're talking to the referee about. You can turn after you've spoken to the referees, you can turn and then have a discussion with your team. But yeah, it's really important to just ask your team manager to step in and just have a chat to your players while you're doing that. Parents cannot approach refs. Massive no-no. As a coach, you are the only one that should be talking to refs at all. And you are welcome to talk to a ref after the game if they don't have another game to go to. A lot of the refs do run off and they in different directions. But that is why we do have supervisors at the games that you can talk to as well if you're unhappy. Sometimes you can have a very passionate parent who likes to coach their child from the sidelines, and I can see a couple of you like, yep, that can sometimes happen in my games. It can be really tricky to have the courage to say to that parent, look, I love what you're doing right now, but can you just have a listen for a moment, because I've actually told little Jeff that, Jeff, I want you to go down the middle of the court, and when you're yelling at Jeff to go baseline, that's actually not the instructions that I've asked at all. So Jeff's getting a little bit confused. So if you want to know what I'm asking him to do and then we can communicate, that's okay, but I need to be the one that's directing Jeff out on that court. If that doesn't work, if you find that the next game, little Jeff is still getting yelled at by mum or dad or even grandparents or auntie and uncle on the sidelines, and it's occurring every single week, please just contact me and I'll either come down or I'll get one of our committee members down. We're quite lucky at Red Devils that we do have quite a lot of committee members, and they have children ranging from under 18s or 19s all the way to under 8. So there's normally someone around when games are obviously going on. So please just let me know, and then we can come down and have a chat to that parent for you. Hi, Sal. Welcome. So heat policy. So I'm going to let you guys read this one a little bit whilst I just have a chat. Obviously, we don't have any heat policies at the moment. It's a bit freezing, but when the temperatures do start rising and it gets a bit sticky in those stadiums and the court does reach 32 degrees, then the court will invoke the extreme heat policy. As you can see, it says that except at Knox Stadium and State Basketball Centre, where one temperature gauge will be over those 3 courts on each side of the stadium. But if you are playing somewhere else, if you are playing at Fair Hills or one of those littler places, then it's the discretion of the supervisor that's there. They will advise if the court has reached the 32 degrees. The referees are in their right to call 2 mandatory timeouts. So that is, again, if you're having a read while I'm talking, it's at the 6 and 12-minute marks. And these really are for the referees to have a bit of a breather as well, because they've been running around, so they can have some water. But most importantly, it's for your players, because sometimes You don't call a timeout. I don't call lots of timeouts in games unless I need to. So it's really important in that heat that we do use our timeouts so that they can have a bit of a break. Okay, so if the temperature exceeds 36 degrees, and I'm sure Daniel will agree with me, back in the day when I used to ref over at Dandenong Stadium during the tournament in January, I swear it got way higher than 36 degrees, Daniel, over there. It was ridiculous. But if that does happen, which I have not seen happen in a very long time, the game will be cancelled. So this is just obviously for the safety of the children and you as coaches and parents. It's just way too hot for anyone to be doing any sport, and inside it's not acceptable. So that's what will happen if it reaches 36 degrees. Okay, at trainings. Okay, so at trainings, it's encouraged that you write down what you would like to do at your training sessions. So if you are playing on a Saturday or a Sunday night and you see that your players are lacking in even passing the ball in from the sideline, then have a think about what you can actually do to change that at trainings. So you can go on to websites such as online basketball drills or basketball for coach. And there's other things that you can do also if you get really stuck and you cannot think of a play or a drill, or you just can't find what you're needing, then you can actually contact our coaching coordinator, Steph and Seb, and they can attend your training and help support you. We also have a coaching manual which is available. This is something that's been out for a couple of years now, which I don't know if a lot of coaches actually know that we created something to help you guys. It's going to be updated later this year, but it's quite good. It does go through what your expectations as a coach for each age and level, from beginner to a little bit more advanced. It does also have some coaching drills and things like that. And a lot of the information that I'm talking about tonight is actually in that manual. So I have put the coaching manual down the bottom. We're not going to click on it again tonight, but it was just to remind me what I wanted to say with it. But we will be sending that out to each of you very soon. And it's also a really good idea to talk to your parents about if they are happy to hop on court. I know at my training, Matt, that is here tonight. Hi again, Matt. I have his son in my team, and I will try very hard to get him out and other parents just to hop on the court. Even if I have played a team on Saturday and they did a zone, I'll ask my parents to come out, create that zone, and then have my players do what I want them to do, move into those spaces. And it's really important to try to have that open communication with your parents because they can provide a lot of knowledge as well as help you at trainings. Okay, really important, which I don't know if a lot of coaches realize, but parents must stay with their children. I have heard so many times that I've yeah, I've heard so many times that parents couldn't attend training. So Chris is going to look after my son, which is perfectly fine. But then Chris now has Jeff, Johnny, Jack, and Frank that he needs to look after, and that's 4 children that one parent is looking after. And then one of the children might get injured or have a tantrum or has a very difficult behavior. It is not your job as a coach to babysit your players. And a lot of the time, you as coaches have put your hand up when nobody else is willing to coach. And that can be really tricky as well. There's lots and lots of different personalities out there with children and also parents. And it's really important that they do stay at training for that simple fact that they need to be there. If their child is injured, they want their parent there to make sure they're okay. If they're going to have a tantrum or if they are having that difficult behavior, it is the parent's job to talk to the child about that behavior, not yours. And that includes on Saturday as well. If you are finding that you are talking to that same player constantly and the behaviors aren't changing and they're still throwing tantrums on Saturdays, and trust me, I have seen it, then it is up to you as a coach to talk to that parent and say, this is what I've tried. Can you help me out? What else can I do? Or can you please have a talk to your child? If that parent is still not turning up to trainings and you're still having issues, please contact Kelly and she will contact the parents and remind them that they must be there at trainings. If you're still having issues, then Kelly or myself will then come to your trainings and your games and we will talk to the parents there. You're not alone, guys, in that department, though. If you need to cancel trainings, please contact Kelly via phone or email, and obviously you'll then contact your team. We sometimes do need to cancel trainings. We have had occasions where it's been absolutely crazy weather up on the hill, and it's been really dangerous for us to get in our cars and even drive just to Upway. And I'm sure a lot of you do live up in the hills and you're aware of even those days where we had the really windy weather and the hail, and it just was not safe for anyone to leave their house. So if that is something that happens, we'll do our very best to let you know as soon as possible. Sometimes it can be on the day of trainings or the day before. If there is an event at Upway and we need to advise you, as soon as we know from Upway, we will let you know. Okay, grading. Now, this is something that, again, a lot of coaches don't really know goes on or the detail that is involved. So grading is when a representative of Knox, which is called a grading secretary, attends your matches. Now, this starts from the first game until the seventh game, and then even after that, they will still come around a little bit. Now, this is basically someone that's coming out that has been given just your age group and your grade. So, for instance, I coach the 14-1 boys and they are in AR. So, I would have one, potentially, sometimes two grade secretary or secretaries come out to my game and they will watch every single team in AR in my grade, and then they will write notes on who they believe needs to either move up or move down a level. Now, they might decide that no one needs to move, but it is up to them to make those choices. Then recently, which happened on Sunday actually, I sent through a list that I received from Knox, and I'm sure all of you coaches received an email from Kelly asking you to let me know where you think your team should be. That was sent off on Sunday from myself to Knox, advising where we believe our team should be after the 5 to 6 games. Now, Paul was asking me before, when does grading finish and when do we find out what grade we're actually in for the rest of the season? This Saturday will be our last grading, and I do that grading game. And then the week after is when the season fully starts. So you should find out very soon. Okay, so we have a code of conduct. This code of conduct is to help and protect our players, parents, and spectators. And it's actually on our website. Daniel, is it okay if you can actually just click on that, please, just very quickly, just so everyone can see? And it's just the expectations of the players, the parents, and the spectators. Thank you, Daniel. And it's not a very lengthy document, but it is there. And I encourage all of you just to go through and have a read, because there may be something in there that you didn't actually know existed, or that it might support you in some way or another. So there's a respect referees and other officials. There's all different types of things on there. Being a good sport. Thank you, Daniel. My eyesight's not great, guys. Play for the enjoyment of it. So just play basketball for enjoying it, which is really important for our under 8s. Thanks, Daniel. Okay, and Knox Basketball has obviously their own website. and they have all of this information on there. So, Paul, I think I mentioned before that you can look up the domestic calendar. This is on Knox website. Daniel, we're not going to click on any of these. On the next page, we'll click on the 3 there, but if you could just leave it here for another moment. So the domestic calendar is something that you can click on, and you can actually look up when we play and when we don't play. And it even tells you, obviously, every single game and what week that is in. And it goes for about, I think it's almost, Daniel, is it about 18 months, I think it shows, or is it 2 years that it shows the
Yeah, the
calendar?
current one shows the rest of this year, but there'll be a new
Okay.
one published very shortly for next year as well.
Wonderful, thank you. So if you are unsure, you can have a look on that domestic calendar. They've got their heat policy, which is a lot of the information that I shared with you before. The junior domestic date of birth age ranges. So for playing in winter and playing in summer, I still get asked what are the age ranges, and I will click on that link and check every time. For some reason, they just don't stay in my brain. So, any of you coaches that you have a player and you're unsure if they're going to stay in under 10s or move up to under 12s, then you can click on that and it will tell you exactly the age bracket of when they will move up. You've also got medical clearance request, which is what I mentioned before. If you have an injury, you've got the interclub transfer. So if you do have a player from another team approach you and say, I really want to play for Red Devils, then they need to go through their club and do a transfer. We've got our junior domestic rules, their code of conduct, which you can click on. The Basketball Victoria photography policy, junior club uniform priority list, and Basketball Victoria advice. There's lots of fun things that you can have a look. So, Daniel, if you wouldn't mind just clicking on that calendar really quickly so everyone can see what I was talking about, if you don't mind. Okay. So obviously, unless you are playing during the week in the senior domestic, you would just look at the junior domestic. So you can see exactly for the Saturday and the Sunday, and you can see all of the dates there. So it's telling you exactly how long the season's going for and when the grand finals are. So unlike myself and another committee member that booked holidays when grand final is, we probably could have looked at that calendar and realized that. Oops. Looking forward to my holiday though, guys. The junior domestic rules, please, Daniel. Now, there are a lot of junior domestic rules. Daniel's just going to scroll down. I'm not going to read all of these. We don't have enough time, and you don't want to hear my voice for that long, but please just have a note on there. Thanks, Chris. That you do have lots of information there, including finals. So, Daniel, if you can just scroll up just a smidge, please, just back up for me. And then you'll see on there, which is really important, you've got finals that, yeah, thank you, Daniel, that Daniel's right on there. You've got final season and then the player eligibility and the finals eligibility. So if you are unsure if your players are able to play finals, then you can click on there and see what the requirements are. But please note that we actually do send an email out to you a couple of weeks before finals are starting. So if it looks like your team is going to make finals, we'll advise you of which players still need to play however many games. So we will contact you. Thank you, Daniel. But as you can see, it's very extensive. And then you've got the code of conduct as well. Okay, so just for your reference, because we do get asked this a lot, we do have a team selection committee. Now that consists of, I think there's about 8 or 9 of us now. It's grown, which is really lovely. And we go out and watch your teams. We will go out and watch them at the start of the season, and then we'll watch them towards the end of the season. So then we get a good view of the players. We are all assigned a age group and a and whether whichever sex we are going to be. Now, it's really important to know that we value the coach's feedback. So, for instance, if Craig sends through to me information about his team, then we will read that and we will marry it up with our information. And then also when we're doing team selections, there's other factors that we need to put into play, which is like friend requests. So we get a lot of friends requests. That does take up a lot of our time to try to make sure that we are, especially in under 8s and under 10s, we try really hard to make sure that they are playing with friends. And also parent requests as well. So there's lots of different factors that go into putting players in teams. But one of the big ones, as I mentioned, is if Craig was going to send through to me some information on his players, I'm going to read that as the team selector for Craig's section. And then I'm going to have a read of that, see my notes, see if there's any friend requests and other parent requests, and then try to make the teams from there. Now, Daniel, did it take us 3 hours last time to do all of the teams, I believe? It's a lengthy process. I think it was around that time.
It felt like 3 months, but yep, 3 hours on the night, yes.
Yeah, so it is a lengthy process, and we all sit at our tables and we all have the age groups, and then after everyone feels like they have finished their teams, I go over and check just those final checks. There is a policy that we have that we do not do the age group of our own children. So it cannot be a biased situation where Chris really wants his son Max to be in a higher team than his ability, or a lower team because of a friend. We try really hard to make sure that we are doing everything in our power to make sure that the child is our number one priority and where they should be. So Chris cannot have any say in that. All right. Now I don't really have to keep talking. If anyone does have any questions, Daniel, how do we go with questions? Just off the mic and then they can just answer away? I like that Paul's got his hand. Paul, you know what you're doing.
I was going to say start with Paul Hoffman because he's already got his
How
hand.
did you do that? Yeah, I'll do that too.
I know,
Oh,
Craig, that was
one of the many
unbelievable.
skills you learned during COVID.
It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
Just a question around insurance and fill-in players. If you have to have insurance for fill-in players at training, and do you have to get them to sign a waiver if a friend comes to play a match?
No, because it's covered through Knox.
Yep.
Yeah, so we have a player fill-in report every single week that Sky fills out, and that it'll highlight. So let's say, I don't know, little Tommy Smith comes and fills in for your team. Then we let Knox know that Tommy Smith has played. You obviously are entering in their date of birth, an email address, a contact phone number, and a parent. So all of that information is there, and they are covered for those 2 games.
Okay, great. Thank you.
No worries.
You can ask about the ball sizes.
We've got
You got
Craig
another question,
Kirby
Paul?
maybe next.
You can keep going, Paul. I've got a couple of questions, so you might as well go again.
Yeah, thanks, Craig. This one's Austin.
Yeah.
That was Austin playing with the Bucks.
Sorry, Austin.
No, all good. I was just wondering about ball sizes because I haven't received my kit yet. Where would I be able to receive that?
Well, we share a kit, but you haven't got.
Oh yeah, but I haven't actually got the ball. So
Oh,
where would I be
fine.
able to receive that?
That's fine. I think Daniel's taking notes as you speak there. Austin, is that right, Daniel? You're writing that down?
Yep, we'll flick you an email shortly, mate. We'll
Cool. Sweet
organise
as.
the balls for you.
All right, thank you.
We'll get back to you. No, thanks for letting us know. All right, Craig, hit me. Go.
Okay, I've got 3.
Yep.
First one is also in relation to fill-ins, but not within our club. Like I've gone through the fill-in process a number of times this season. It's been exceptional. It was very smooth. So thank you very much. That was Daniel, I think, that helped me. But I have noticed with some of the teams we're playing, like one we're playing this weekend, they've had the same fill-in for like 4 or 5 weeks. I'm wondering, as a coach of our club, should I, and of the team I'm managing, should I actually be raising that with the opposition coach?
Daniel, do you want to answer that one? I'm not 100% sure because I know that for our club, we say that it needs to be those 2 games. What does Knox say?
So how do you know that they're a fill-in? Is that because their name is
Well,
listed as a fill-in?
Yeah, so it may just be their registrar hasn't put them on the team list, but they've actually registered. It may be a non-issue, and they just haven't. Their internal processes to actually get the names listed may not have occurred.
Yeah, and so is that because you can see them listed as a fill-in courtside, or is that on play?
No, I'm a bit of a stats guy, and I look at all the teams and all the players and who they've brought in since the start of the season, and are they getting stronger and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I've noticed one individual that we're playing this weekend has been a fill-in for the whole season so far.
Yeah, cool. If you want us to raise it with the junior domestic competition, just flick us an email with the name of the player and the team.
Yeah.
The other thing to note is that when a player is listed as a private player, they may show up as private player, and therefore that could be one of the reasons as well. But
yeah, no, that's not the reason. I'm aware of that.
Yep.
Of some of the reasons why someone will be mentioned as a private player. That's fine.
Yep.
Okay.
Cool.
Thank you. Another quick one. Player number updates. I've got one that's required in our team. I just let Sky know.
Yeah, or you can just let Daniel and I know tonight, and then we'll fix it up for you.
I need to check the numbers and get back to you. And the last one was Coach
Just
Philly.
email us, Craig.
Yeah, I don't know it. Coach Philly, and I actually nominated some. For those that are on the call, I coach under 19s. They're older boys, and I actually had someone stand in as our captain coach, so one of the boys themselves. So where does that lie in regard to being a fill-in without working with children's check, given that they are essentially still a child themselves?
So if they are under 18s, which a lot of the under 19s are, then they must have a coach.
Okay.
They must have a coach there.
So that's just an adult responsible for the team, but I can still have them acting as coaching the team so long as they're an adult representation there?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay,
So any team that are under 19s. Daniel, is it under 23s as well that's a request from Knox, or is it just the under 19s that there must be a coach present for that?
Yeah. So for under 19s and under 23s, you have to have a non-playing coach.
Yeah, that's
so. So the coach or one of the kids who is maybe the leader of the team might be able to give the coach some instruction about what needs to happen, but someone would need to be sitting on the bench.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
As the coach who's not playing.
That's fine. Okay, thanks, guys.
Yeah, no worries.
I think Christian might have been next.
Yep, Daniel, how are you? Thank you.
Good, thank you.
Good. Just 2 questions about the parents helping out at training, because I've had parents come up to me say, "Can I help you out on the court?" And I've said, "I don't know if you can, because do they have to have working with children's working alongside me? Do I have to ask every parent whether they have working with children's to be able to come on court and help out with training?"
Daniel, do you want to answer that one, or would you like? I'm not sure if Sky's on here at the moment. Was she able to hop on?
I'd need to just clarify that one, to be honest.
Okay.
I know that where you do have your direct children involved, you can participate in working with children. However, when you are interacting with other people's children, that's where you need to get it. So
that was a bit of I was a bit unsure when Emma said before, bring in other parents to help out with drills, whether I have to make sure they're covered under working with children or not. So
that is a very good question, and one I'll take on notice, and I'll come back to people on this call.
And just the other one, I've had 3 players in my team. We've only just found out about this 21 days about the doctor certificate. I've had 2 girls that had broken arms early in the season, so it's past the 21 days, but I've only just received their doctor certificate. We only found out about this in the last couple of weeks. So if it's not within the 21 days, are they definitely counted out for the season, or is there some leeway with Knox?
They're pretty tight on that rule. It's
Yeah, the club
Yeah.
sort of net. We weren't told of it until someone actually brought it up at one of the games 2 weeks ago. So I've gathered the 2 doctor certificates, but if it's 21 days, it's that's probably, yeah, you know, if they say no, that's it, and that's 3 of my players out of 8 that won't qualify for finals.
What I'd suggest,
Yeah.
Christian, is if you flick the certificates
Yeah.
across to Kel,
Yep.
we'll send it to Knox, and we'll ask them to take it
We can
into
only see,
consideration.
yeah.
That's all we can do. And the
Yep.
other thing also, Christian, is if they have missed out on, say, 4 weeks because of their broken arm, but then they have another medical certificate to say that they've had the plaster off and then they're
Yep.
still out for another 4 weeks. If
Yep.
that is possible, then we can at least try to get that 4 weeks when the plasters come off, because that's technically another medical certificate, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
So
well,
if,
one of them actually was at the fracture clinic today and said they're allowed to resume training, but they're still out for 6 weeks. No contact for 6 weeks. So that was Audrey, one of the main breaks, and her little sister broke her finger, so she's been 4 weeks, and then another one broke her foot. So.
Oh gosh, okay, yep, you are having a
Yes.
rough trial. Well, yeah, if you can send through to us what you have.
Yep.
And as I said, that if you do have that second medical certificate for the time that is still the healing time where they still can't play, then hopefully Knox will accept that for you guys.
Okay. And just the last one, we managed to find a new player started last week. How many games is it? Will it? Because obviously our season starts as of next week. Does it count the grading games, or is it only the main season games?
It counts the grading games as well.
Also, okay, yep.
Yeah. So it's 10 games.
So it's 10 games I have to play to qualify for finals. 10 games, okay. And how many games do we have in our season outright?
We have 16, I believe. This.
That's
I'm gonna have to check that, Christian.
Let me go back to the domestic calendar.
Yep.
There are 16 rounds. There we go.
It is 16 rounds.
Our new player played 1 game last week, and hopefully, if she continues on, and this is only whether you do make finals or not, whether I can let her know, her family know whether she'll be viable or not. Yeah.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Great. Okay. Thank you.
No worries. Daniel, I think it was last season we had 17 weeks. I feel like 17 was that number, and now it's dropped to 16. So thank you for checking.
Oh, good.
All
I think
right,
maybe
it's either
Andy might have been
Amanda,
next.
Lockie Croker, Amanda, or Max.
Yeah,
Which one are you guys?
It's Max.
Max?
Hey, yeah, we don't have a coaching kit for the 16-2s either. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you, Daniel. You've written that one down for the 16-2s.
And Josh was also saying the 14s, the team coach, Josh coaches. He doesn't have one either.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Can I just clarify that 16-2 boys and the 14.
The
14, Josh? Fives. 14 fives.
Fives.
Yeah.
Cool.
Wonderful.
We'll get that sorted for you.
All right, Andy, what can we help you with tonight?
Sorry, I'm a bit late coming to the call, so you may have covered this. Uniform clashes. We noticed Montana was wearing red last week. We've got them next week. Is there an automatic selection of who wears a different uniform?
So who did you say? Was it Jetbacks, was it? Did you say Montana?
Yeah.
So their normal uniform is white. So you should not need any clash tops whatsoever for them. They would probably be playing another Montana team, and their clash tops would be red.
Right. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
And also, Daniel, coaches team kit for me too. Please put it in the chat.
Team. Okay, perfect. What's the team number, mate? Sorry.
12 boys, 5.
Oh, 5 boys. Done. We will get that sorted for you. And just so you know, Andy, the only club that we have to change uniforms for is when we play ourselves.
Thank
so we
you.
don't have to change it for anyone else.
Which we've done.
All right.
It
Any
was a
other
cracking game
questions?
too, by the way. 2 points in it.
I did see the result.
Thanks, Josh. Josh just put up and said that when Turner have clash tops as well. So yeah, I would be assuming, Andy, that they were playing each other. Yeah. Any other questions? Daniel, was there a message thing that anyone has written in?
No, I've just
We'll
got
take-
some notes here from Jared, Chris, and Anthony also saying that they need their coaches kit. So we're making some notes of that now, and we'll make sure that we get that sorted for you.
Wonderful. All right. Well, that is the end of our little presentation. I hope that it was informative for you all. If you do ever have any questions, please, please, please email myself. I'm sure Daniel wouldn't mind you emailing him. And also we have Callie. Any coaching coordinator questions you can send through to Seb and Steph, or again, myself. But yeah, please don't feel like you're alone in coaching. It can feel like you don't have a lot of people around you and you might feel like you need some extra support. There are people out there. We've got an amazing committee. A lot of them I'm seeing online, which I thank the committee for taking the time to hop on as well. But yeah, you're not alone. Coaching can be so rewarding and so frustrating all at once. But yeah, it's obviously fantastic, and that's why all of you put your hand up. So thank you to all of you for doing it this season. Big pat on your backs, and yeah, if you ever need anything, please let us know. And also, if you do find that this has been helpful, if you'd like to email Kelly and just let her know that it was helpful, or if there was anything that you wanted more information on, please just let us know and we can adapt this, because obviously this is the first time we've had something like this online. We did a reffing one a couple of years ago, but we are just trying to see if this works. Instead of getting all of you on a Thursday or a Tuesday night to cancel trainings, we thought something like this might work a little bit for you guys. So hopefully it was a bit rewarding for you. But thank you so much for taking the time. Good luck, great season ahead, and I'm sure I'll see all of you out and about. So thank you so much.
See you later.
Thanks,
so
guys.
much.
We will
Cheers,
see you
guys.
later.
See ya.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank
My
you.
pleasure. No worries, Matt.
Great job, Chris. You were the best.
He doesn't know how to turn his volume on.
I need to actually stop the recording first. Hang on.
Oh.
Hang on. Stop.
How there you go. So, did well, Emma.
Good job.